In Nazi Germany, the newspaper Der Stürmer advocated for the suppression of free speech primarily to consolidate and maintain the power of the Nazi regime and to promote their extreme anti-Semitic ideology, and later laws that censored and punished those who criticized or even opposed the Nazi regime. Meanwhile, during the early years of the Soviet Union, the government-controlled newspaper Pravda played a significant role in advocating for the suppression of dissenting voices and free speech. Pravda, which ironically means truth in Russian, was the official newspaper of the Communist Party, and it was used as a tool of propaganda to promote the party's ideology and maintain control over information. Pravda strongly advocated for the suppression of free speech and the persecution of individuals or groups who they deemed counter-revolutionary or opposed to the Communist Party. It even portrayed those who disagreed with the party's policies as enemies of the state and often published articles, editorials, and reports that demonized and vilified them. One of the most well-known cases was the persecution of political opponents through the use of show trials. And these trials were highly publicized events in which individuals were accused of various crimes against the state, often with little or even no evidence. Pravda and other state-controlled media outlets played a very crucial role in shaping public opinion against the accused and justifying their punishment, which often included imprisonment or even execution. Now, fast forward to modern times, the concept of media companies advocating for suppressing free speech can take on new dimensions, especially in the context of social media platforms. It's already occurred with Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook and Threads, as well as the brand which is formerly known as Twitter while Jack Dorsey was at the helm. But traditional media oligarchs had their hold their beer moment with their own calls to suppress individual freedoms, like when the New York Times published an article to eradicate free speech because it will kill us. And their justification for this nonsense? Well, it's the same as the Nazis and the communists. It was to protect us from ourselves and to uphold the virtues of the almighty state. Even the current White House administration has aggressively revoked press credentials and even recently issued a broad set of behavioral standards for journalists that will allow our current dictator-in-chief to ban any journalist who they deem unprofessional. Now, many critics argue that the language is so broad that it actually hands President Biden and any future president sweeping powers to act against any reporter. But those critics also claim that the policies will never hold up if contested in court. So how do we recognize the warning signs? Well, under authoritarian regimes, both traditional media outlets and modern social media platforms, they all share the same underlying strategies, like control of information and algorithms, promotion of specific narratives, labeling dissenting voices, deplatforming and silencing, echo chambers, and censorship by proxy. Now, free speech is a fundamental pillar of democratic societies, and it's an essential human right. It holds great importance even when we encounter speech or ideas that we find offensive, disagreeable, or even harmful. It's also important to maintain the principle of free speech regardless of our personal feelings about the content that's being expressed. After all, we must protect minority views, promote open debate, prevent authoritarianism, expose hidden issues, maintain individual autonomy, cultivate innovation, and respect individual rights. Censorship or suppression of free speech, even with good intentions, can easily lead to a slippery slope where the definition of what is acceptable becomes more narrow over time. And this can stifle a range of viewpoints beyond the initially targeted content. Free speech is a cornerstone of democratic values, intellectual progress, and personal autonomy. It also recognizes that a truly free and open society, well, we can handle the complexity of diverse ideas, which fosters an environment where dialogue, understanding, and progress all thrive. But that's just me thinking out loud again.